forum today, which is titled Euthanasia and its Ethical Problems. The speaker is Thomas Leshnik.
Oh, not a speech, it's a presentation.
Okay, presentation, and now
I didn't do any talking.
he's reviving it and he's doing it again, but now with more fresher enthusiasm.
Fresher enthusiasm, yes.
Okay, so first I would like to say a few words about euthanasia. It comes from the Greek word euthanatos, which is divided into two words. Eu, which means good, and thanatos means death. Good death.
Mm-hmm.
In Chinese it's called anles, which is similar, like peaceful and happy death. Even from the early times, the father of the Western medicine, Hippocrates, kind of mentions euthanasia in his oath. Like he says, I would never give a medicine to someone who asked for it. And this oath is still kept today in modern medicine. Why he did that? Because even in those times, in ancient Greece and in ancient Rome, they did kind of euthanasia. And during the time, it was always, in a way, practiced until in the modern time, when people decided to bring some laws, and when people started discussing about it and saying, is it good or bad? So today there is also another term which is called assisted suicide, which is a little bit different from euthanasia, because euthanasia can be a voluntary or involuntary. But assisted suicide is always like referring to the voluntary one. Okay, you will correct me later.
Yes.
And for example, in the state of Oregon in the United States, they have law for assisted suicide, but not for euthanasia. So they use different words for passing the laws. Today in the world, there are only just few countries in which euthanasia is lawful. Like I mentioned, some of the states in the US, there's Oregon, Washington, and New Mexico, and there was one more.
Yeah, lawful? You can do it?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, New Mexico or Texas.
No, no way. Really?
Yeah. I just saw some information, okay. I don't know. In Europe, only just few countries: Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Switzerland, and Albania. And also Japan. So, please take a seat.
Actually, maybe over here.
That one's Reed, the jacket.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can pull down some seats over there too if you want to.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so Tom is going to provide us with the arguments for and against euthanasia. So he will try to provoke us, think about it, and discuss about euthanasia being good or bad, or it should be practiced or not. So Tom, please.
Okay. Actually, I have a slight correction. Maybe I didn't actually tell you 100% what I'm talking about. I'm actually talking about euthanasia, young people in Asia. Actually, no. Start off with a joke. Start off with a laugh. Have to start off with a laugh. You're going to talk about death. But anyways, so actually I'm talking more about suicide. Euthanasia or assisted suicide is just suicide, but with a specific motive to it, right? But I'm talking about actually our right to our own lives and what is really our own life. So, anyways, I wanted to start off with. I know you studied a lot in some of in some Buddhism and different things like this. And maybe you can correct me, but there is. It's almost like a Taoist approach that the one thing that we actually have is our life. That's the only thing that we can actually claim an ownership over. Everything else is manufactured and is part of a system that we set up or whatever. But the one thing that's truly ours is our life. And whether or not we have that's kind of like I would say a Taoist mentality. Okay, whatever. So anyway, that's kind of a mentality. But anyways, so so at what point in time are we allowed to decide, can we take our own life? There are many arguments for and against, and a lot of these topics, they have bullet points of what you want to be mentioned. My only bullet points are actually questions. I want to try and discuss 3 specific questions. First question are, what are the reasons behind suicide? Why would someone want to take their own life? And then another question would be, what are the reasons that we have to prevent this from happening? And then another question is, once we decide that it should be prevented, where do we draw the line? Or should a line even be drawn? And I'll explain that. It might be bigger, and I'll explain it. Anyways, so the first question, why would someone want to commit suicide? There's quite a few reasons, and let me see if I can quote Wikipedia real quick. They say that, oh, my hands are shaking a lot more now. I got it right here. Anyways, they say that the suicide is predominantly the result of a combination of factors such as healthcare provision, social attitudes, which is, I think, this is the strongest and most important point, social attitude, and cultural influences in the economy. So, social attitudes, the way it's perceived in society, I guess social and cultural is about the same. But anyways, these are the reasons. And so people, if you think about suicide, you think about maybe being too sick and the doctor already gave you, you're going to live 5 more months and you're in pain and it's a slow death, you want a quick death. That would be assisted suicide. You can't do it yourself. You're in a bed. So that would be assisted suicide. Then you have, okay, you're sad, you're depressed, you don't want to go on anymore. There would be a peace to not having to think at all. So then that would be suicide because of depression. And then you have other reasons. And the cultural reasons, I think, are the most important, actually, because Japan is one of the few countries where suicide is actually 100% not illegal. And in fact, Japanese families will withdraw a huge life insurance policy if the husband, the breadwinner of the family, commits suicide. And for the longest time, there's actually, here's another reason right here in the reasons question. There's actually a movement in Western literature where I wanted to do research. I thought about the last minute. I couldn't find to quote the actual dates and the different authors and whatnot. But there's a movement in Western literature where these authors would get to the height of their career and then they would commit suicide because they think nothing will get better than this. This is the perfect point of my life. That happened also in Japan at a different time. Now, with Japanese, it's honorable to commit suicide. Samurais cannot. You can't really accept defeat. It's actually an honorable thing, a very, very honorable thing to be able to give up your life. So anyways, these are in the reasons category. Now, the next question I wanted to ask is, at what point in time do we say you're not allowed to commit suicide? Or should it be accepted, should it not be accepted? Why should we choose this one? This is a difficult question. For most of these things, I want to provide anecdotes. It's hard to really get into this mindset with just listening to me talk. So there's the idea of a quality of life. There's the idea that there is a quality to our life, and that we need to protect that quality of life, and we cannot at one point in time let ourselves die. Okay, that would be the government and Christianity standpoint or religious standpoints on it. So religion is a huge, huge reason why we outlaw it. Japan is legal, and Japan is like the 65% atheist. And then, so anyways, and then there's the other reason would be because of our own selfishness, I guess. You don't want to lose someone that's close to you. It's definitely very difficult. And then another reason would be why to stop it. Would be, I mean, in Japan it's becoming a big problem with their population is going down. But okay, so there's a few different reasons for why you want to stop it. Quality of life, I would like to expand that a little bit with an anecdote. And actually, this is actually my main point when I made my speech last time, the quality of life thing. And I'm really glad I talked to Alexander a few days ago, because we came up with another thing I want to mention about this. Western medicine right now is all about extending life. That's like, the purpose is keeping the heart beating and keeping the lungs breathing. And if we can achieve this, and we try to achieve it to the fullest extent possible, and that's, okay, so that's quality of life. That's not quality of life, I'm sorry. The anecdote I want to talk about is, there was a story that I read about, and it's a pretty sad story. I wish I could remember and quote the actual country and location, but it was in Africa, in one of the many starving populations of people. And there was a young child, probably around 7 or 8 years old. And you can see the pictures. His body was he was dying of starvation, and there was some food that was being given out for free, and he wanted that food so bad. He wanted to live and continue living so bad that he had already lost the strength to walk, so he had to crawl. He was crawling, and he actually died before he got to the food. There was so much of a strain for him to move it and to stress his body that much. He died before he got there. So this is someone who really, really wants to live, and there's not a whole lot of help that is being given to the people who really want to live but can't. And there's a whole lot of help being given to the people who would prefer death, even if you're sick and you're going to die very soon anyways. Anyways. So that would be in the category of quality of life. Now another thing is, why should we prevent them? In this question, why should we prevent people from killing themselves? Here's